What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me right here at my YouTube channel. This is where we talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that we love to talk about. Movies, video games, comic books, and TV shows. And right now I'd like to give you guys my thoughts on the trailer for Hawkeye that recently dropped. Now, I'm a big fan of the MCU, obviously. I think most geeky, I think most geeky, nerdy people are fans of the MCU. And, Hawkeye was never my favorite character, but he's always a character that I've enjoyed. It's not a character that I haven't disliked, just not in my top five. You know what I mean? So I've always enjoyed the character, and I've always enjoyed Jeremy Renner's take on the character. When I learned they were making a Hawkeye series, I was interested because it's the MCU and it's an OG Avenger. And that's one of the things that really makes this kind of stand apart from me from some of the other shows that they're doing, is the fact that this is a show that centers around an OG Avenger from the original movie. WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, those aren't those aren't your OG Avengers. Loki, I would say, is an OG character, but not an OG Avenger. So this one focuses on one of those original Avengers, and that kind of made this stand out for me. And for me, it kind of brought the hype a little bit more than some of the other shows did. So obviously, I was very interested in the first trailer. And what did I think of it? Well, I'll tell you the good, and I'll tell you the bad. All right, the good. I love the fact that this is set at Christmas time. I love the fact that Marvel keeps kind of reinventing the way that they tell stories. You have your space adventures, you've got your political thrillers, you've got your I don't know, you've got your action stories, you've got your kind of comic book versions of a horror story. I would say that like Spider-Man Homecoming was like a John Hughes teenage type drama story. So, they keep kind of reinventing the way they're telling stories. And I love the idea of having a Hawkeye show set at Christmas time, kind of bringing that Christmas warmth, that Christmas feeling, that Christmas component to it. I heard a lot of people comparing references to Home Alone and Die Hard. I get the Die Hard thing. It really did feel like there was some inspiration taken from Die Hard in this. I honestly feel that way. I don't get the Home Alone thing. None of what I saw in the trailer reminded me of Home Alone in the slightest. What it did remind me of, though, was Jingle All the Way. I definitely got a Jingle All the Way vibe from it. The Arnold Schwarzenegger film. Probably, a dad who's been absent has to do one more thing, and then he can get back to his family on Christmas. That's definitely the vibe that I was getting from this. So I think that the action looked fun. I love the idea that it's set at Christmas, and I think that the Kate Bishop character, Haley Steinfeld, I think that looks like a very interesting character. I love the fact that that she's kind of a fangirl, right? Like, a world where there are Avengers, there's going to be Avengers superfans. That's just the reality of it. And we haven't really seen a lot of that, and now we're seeing it. We're seeing an Avengers superfan who's like a superfan to the point of emulating her idol. I think that's a real interesting take on Kate Bishop. And I think that the two of them, Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld, I think they're going to really play well off of each other. So all of that I loved. Let's talk about what I didn't like. Not everything has to be a world-ending threat. There's been some very good stories set in the MCU that were not world-ending threats. Ant-Man, that wasn't really a world-ending threat. The first Iron Man movie wasn't really a world-ending threat. Sometimes you get these personal stories that can be every bit as effective as this giant world-ending threat from a storytelling perspective. So not everything can be a world-ending threat. Not everything should be a world-ending threat. But I felt that the threat in this trailer for Hawkeye, I felt that it was a little undefined. And because of that, I felt like there were some pretty low stakes happening here. Like when you've got nameless, faceless bad guys, I don't ever feel like our main characters are in any kind of danger. And maybe it was the Christmas vibe. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the fact that the villain was not well defined in this. Whatever the case may be, I didn't feel from this trailer that the threat was threatening. I didn't feel there's a ticking clock in this. All action movies have a ticking clock, and there's a ticking clock in this, but the ticking clock is getting back to his family by Christmas Day. I didn't feel any kind of imminent threat at hand that was genuine. Now, that doesn't mean it's not there. We could watch the show and we could have the greatest MCU villain ever in this show. But we're talking about the trailer right now. And for me, the trailer did not illustrate a genuine threat, who that threat is, what that threat might be. I didn't feel any of that. I just saw a bunch of nameless bad guys that they were blowing up with exploding arrows. So I'm anxious to see more development on that part. But from a strictly trailer perspective, I didn't get that. And that was the weak point for me. But overall, this looks a lot of fun. I love the Christmas idea, and I love the idea of Jeremy Renner trying to get back to his family for Christmas. Of Hawkeye trying to get back to his family for Christmas. I think that's going to make for a very fun story. Probably going to be a very heartwarming story, and it's probably going to be an MCU show that has a lot of rewatchability. So that's my take on the Hawkeye trailer. What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. While you're down there commenting, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out a lot of content and want to make sure that you're up to date with everything that I'm doing. And as always, thank you so much. Until next time, we'll see you later.